The decision that changes everything. Your future begins now. The mirror does not lie, yet most men spend their entire lives avoiding the reflection. You look at your bank account, your surroundings, your daily exhaustion, and you tell yourself a story of circumstance, of bad timing, of a world that simply wouldn't give you a fair shake. You believe you are waiting for an opportunity. You believe you are waiting for the right moment. But deep down, in the quiet, hollow spaces of 3 a.m., you know the truth. You are not waiting for anything. You are hiding. You are hiding behind the comfort of mediocrity, terrified that if you finally truly decided to step into your greatness, you might find that the only thing standing in your way was the person staring back at you. Understand this. Success is not an accident. It is not a windfall of luck that happens to drop into the laps of the deserving. It is a calculated, deliberate act of the mind. It is a decision. Every person who has ever left a mark on history, the Edisons, the Carnegies, the Fords, did not succeed because they were born into it. They succeeded because they reached a point where the status quo became more painful than the work of change. They reached a point where they burned their bridges, looked at the horizon and declared, "This is who I am, and this is where I am going." When Napoleon Hill sat across from Andrew Carnegie, he didn't just learn a list of habits. He learned the fundamental secret of the universe, that your thoughts are the blueprints of your physical reality. You are currently living in the house of your past decisions. If you do not like the structure, the floor plan, or the view from the window, you have the absolute authority to tear it down and build again. But the tearing down requires a decision that is final. Not a hope, not a try, not a maybe. A decision is a commitment that leaves no room for retreat. When you decide, you cut off all other possibilities. You become a person who is no longer available for failure. Most people fail because they are interested in success. Interest is a flimsy, weather-beaten thing. It survives only when the sun is shining and the path is easy. But the moment the rain starts, the moment the doubt creeps in, the moment the world tells you that you are overreaching, the interested person packs up and goes home. But the person who has decided, they are a different breed. They do not care about the weather. They do not care about the critics. They have internalized the truth that failure is merely a temporary event, not an identity. When Thomas Edison failed thousands of times in his quest for the light bulb, he didn't call it failure. He called it a discovery of what didn't work. He didn't decide to try to make a light bulb. He decided that he would make one. The decision carried him through the fatigue, through the skepticism, through the long, dark nights of the laboratory. You must adopt this same ironclad certainty. Your life is the sum total of your decisions, and if your life today is smaller than your ambition, it is because you have made the decision to stay small. It is a hard truth, perhaps the hardest you will ever hear, but it is also the most liberating. If you have the power to keep yourself small, you inherently have the power to make yourself massive. The chains are heavy, but they are not locked. You are the one holding the key. You have been waiting for a sign, for a mentor, for a breakthrough, for permission to start. But the universe is silent, not because it is indifferent, but because it is waiting for you to speak first. Think of Lincoln, a man who faced rejection, defeat, and political ruin time and time again. He could have walked away. He could have settled into a quiet, obscure life, satisfied with his failures. But he possessed a burning desire, a definite chief aim, as Hill would call it, that superseded his circumstances. He decided that the Union would hold. He decided that his vision was worth the fire. He was not swayed by the chaos of his time because his internal decision was stronger than the external noise. Your life right now is screaming for you to decide what you stand for. Are you the victim of your history, or are you the architect of your future? Are you a passenger on a ship steered by social media, economic trends, and the opinions of people who haven't achieved anything? Or are you at the helm? The moment you make a decision, the world begins to shift. It is a subtle yet powerful law of physics. When you commit your energy to a specific objective, your reticular activating system, the filter in your brain, begins to look for opportunities that align with that vision. You start seeing connections you never noticed before. You start meeting people who hold the keys you need. You start noticing the doors that have always been unlocked, simply because you finally decided to walk toward them. This is not magic. This is the science of focus. Where your attention goes, your life flows. And if your attention is scattered, if your decision is weak, if you are keeping one foot in the safety of the past, you will never arrive at your destination. You must stop asking how and start asking who and why. The how will reveal itself when your why is strong enough. If your why is rooted in fear, comfort, or validation, your motivation will flicker out the moment things get difficult. But if your why is rooted in purpose, in a deep, burning need to contribute, to excel, to master your craft, to provide, to build, then the how becomes a puzzle you're excited to solve. Every great empire, every transformative piece of art, every life-changing innovation started with someone deciding that they were tired of the status quo. You look at the successful and you see the highlight reel. You see the trophy, the platform, the wealth, the influence. You do not see the thousands of decisions made in silence. You do not see the early mornings when the body wanted to stay in bed, but the mind demanded action. You do not see the moments of crushing self-doubt where they had to look in the mirror and reaffirm their commitment to themselves. Success is a lonely road in the beginning. There is no applause at the start. There is only the decision and the work. But this is where you are forged. This is where the weakness is burned away. If you can stay true to your decision when nobody is watching, when you are not being paid, when you are not being recognized, then the world will have no choice but to give you what you want. Consider the nature of fear. We are taught to avoid it, to fear itself. But the person who has made a decision realizes that fear is just a symptom of growth. If you are not afraid, you are not playing a big enough game. If you are not experiencing resistance, you are likely staying within the boundaries of what you already know. The decision to grow is the decision to walk into the fire. The heat will be uncomfortable. It will test your resolve. It will tempt you to run back to the familiar. But on the other side of that fire is the version of you that you have only ever glimpsed in your imagination. Do you want to meet that person? Or are you content with the person you are today? There is a profound difference between wishing and deciding. A wish is a dream with no spine. A wish is what you do when you are passive. A decision is an active, living force. It is the bridge between the world of thought and the world of matter. If you want more money, do not wish for it. Decide to create value in such abundance that money becomes a natural byproduct. If you want better health, do not wish for it. Decide to treat your body as the temple of your mission and act with the discipline that reflects that respect. If you want deeper relationships, do not wish for them. Decide to be the person who shows up, who listens, who gives, who leads with integrity. Stop negotiating with your own potential. You make deals with yourself. I'll do it on Monday. I'll start when the market is better. I'll begin when I have more experience. These are not excuses, they are lies. They are the defenses of a mind that is terrified of the responsibility of greatness. Because once you decide, there is no more blaming the economy, the boss, the upbringing, or the luck. Once you decide, everything falls on your shoulders. And that is a heavy burden to bear. Most people prefer the comfort of the excuse over the responsibility of the outcome. But you are not most people. You are the one who is listening to this, feeling the stir in your gut, knowing that you are meant for more. The decision is not a one-time event. It is a practice. You decide every single morning the moment you wake up. You decide when you choose the difficult task over the easy one. You decide when you choose the book over the screen, the workout over the snooze button, the long-term vision over the short-term pleasure. You are constantly casting votes for the person you are becoming. Every choice is a seed. What kind of harvest are you planting? If you continue to plant the same seeds of hesitation and distraction, do not be surprised when your life yields a bitter fruit. But if you plant seeds of discipline, focus, and unwavering belief, your harvest is guaranteed by the laws of nature. You have been programmed to think that you are a product of your environment. That is a lie designed to keep you subservient. You are not a product of your environment. You are a product of your consciousness. You can transcend your environment. Look at the stories of men who rose from the slums to build cities, of women who rose from oppression to change the laws of nations. They did not have the right environment. They created the environment they needed. They changed their internal state so profoundly that the external world had to rearrange itself to accommodate them. That is the power of the human spirit when it is anchored in a decision. Do not look for the path to be cleared for you. The path is created by your walking. You are the pioneer of your own existence. Every step forward is an act of creation. And if you stumble, you do not stop. You correct. You adjust. You learn. A ship at sea is off course 90% of the time, yet it arrives at its destination because it is constantly making micro-adjustments based on its final goal. You must be like that ship. Keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your hand on the wheel, and make the corrections necessary to stay on track. But never, ever change the destination. The weight of the world is heavy, yes. The challenges are real, yes. But your capacity to overcome is greater. You have within you the same biological and intellectual machinery as the greatest achievers in human history. The difference is not in the equipment, it is in the usage. They decided to use their minds to build. Most people use their minds to complain. They decided to use their time to grow. Most people use their time to escape. You have the same 24 hours in your day as every billionaire, every visionary, every leader. The difference is in the depth of the decision you make when the sun rises. You are being called to something higher. Not just a better job or more money, but a better version of yourself. A version of you that is honest, that is disciplined, that is relentless. A version of you that can look in the mirror without flinching, knowing that you have given your absolute best to the vision you have chosen. There is a profound peace that comes with that kind of integrity. When you stop fighting against your own potential, when you stop sabotaging your own progress, you enter into a state of flow that is effortless and powerful. This is the moment. Not tomorrow. Not after the next paycheck. Not when the stars align. Now. The decision that changes everything is the decision to accept that you are the author of your story. Every word written from this point forward is your choice. You can write a story of tragedy, of what could have been, or you can write a story of triumph of the person who refused to bow to the constraints of the world and instead built their own empire of purpose. Think about your life 10 years from now. If you stay on your current path, where are you? If you make the decision to shift, to commit, to execute, where are you? The distance between those two lives is the distance of a single, powerful, unyielding decision. You have the power to bridge that gap. You have the power to become the person you know you were meant to be. But it requires you to stop being a spectator. You have been watching from the sidelines for too long. Get into the arena. Get your hands dirty. Embrace the struggle. Because it is in the arena, amidst the dust and the sweat and the difficulty, that life is actually lived. Do not fear the intensity of your own ambition. You were meant to be intense. You were meant to be driven. You were meant to leave a legacy. The world needs what you have to offer, but it will not give it to you if you are hiding. You must bring it to the surface. You must express it through your work, through your actions, through your character. Your life is the evidence of your beliefs. If you believe in your greatness, show it. If you believe in your purpose, defend it. If you believe in your success, build it. You stand at the threshold of a new life. Every word you have heard here has been a gentle nudge to the door that you have been standing in front of for years. The handle is there. It is not locked. It only requires the grip of a person who has decided that they are finished with the smallness of the past. Turn the handle. Open the door. Step into the light of your own potential. The future is not something that happens to you, it is something you create. And it begins right now. With the decision that changes everything. The world is waiting for your move. Make it. The road you have chosen is not meant to be traveled in the shadow of someone else's expectations. Look at the history of those who broke the ceiling, the innovators who didn't ask for a seat at the table but built their own. They understood that the greatest threat to a man's potential is not the world's opposition, but the quiet, suffocating consensus of those who have already surrendered. When you decide to elevate your life, you will inevitably drift away from the gravitational pull of the comfortable. People will call you obsessive. They will call you detached. Let them. They are measuring your life by their own limited yardstick, never realizing that you are playing a game they don't even know exists. Success is not a destination you reach. It is a frequency you tune into. You must become a vibrational match for the life you desire. This is the law of the mind. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you are vibrating with insecurity, doubt, and the frantic energy of needing, you will only ever attract more situations that confirm your lack. But when you make the decision to shift your internal state, when you carry yourself with the quiet, unshakable confidence of one who knows their worth, the external world begins to mirror that reality back to you. You start to command respect before you even speak. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles because your mind is no longer looking for reasons to fail. It is looking for the path to victory. Consider the tenacity of the great builders. They didn't have the technology or the resources we have today, yet they possessed something far more powerful, a refusal to accept the impossible. Henry Ford did not have the blueprints for the modern assembly line etched in his brain from birth. He had an idea, and he made a decision to follow it until it became steel and rubber. He encountered failure, ridicule, and financial ruin, but his decision was an anchor in the storm. When you hold on to a decision like that, time becomes your greatest asset rather than your greatest enemy. You stop counting the months and years, and you start counting the milestones. You realize that any goal is attainable if you are willing to break it down into the smallest possible unit of action and then perform that action with excellence. Discipline is the engine of your decision. Without it, your intention is nothing more than a hallucination. Many people talk about their dreams while sitting on their couch, waiting for the right energy to hit them. They are confusing emotional arousal with true motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fickle. They change with the weather, your blood sugar, and your sleep schedule. Discipline, however, is a character trait. It is the ability to ignore how you feel and do what is necessary because you gave your word to yourself. When you keep your word to yourself, your self-esteem skyrockets. You stop doubting your ability to follow through because you have a track record of showing up, especially when you didn't feel like it. This is the secret that the masters never tell you in the brochures. The work is rarely glamorous. It is repetitive. It is tedious. It is often invisible. But this is where the character is forged. The genius of the artist, the endurance of the athlete, the wealth of the entrepreneur. They are all born in the boring, thankless hours of repetition. If you cannot master the mundane, you will never earn the right to the magnificent. You must fall in love with the process. Stop looking at the mountain peak every 5 seconds and start looking at your feet. Take the next step. Then the next. Then the next. Before you know it, you will look back and see that you have scaled a height that once seemed insurmountable. Gratitude acts as the fuel for this journey. You might think that gratitude is for when you arrive, for when you have the success, the money, and the recognition. But it is actually the mechanism that gets you there. When you are grateful for where you are, not because you are complacent, but because you recognize that your current situation is the laboratory for your future growth, you shift your perspective. You move from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. You start to see the lessons in the struggle, the value in the rejection, and the opportunity in the delay. This shift in perspective is the only thing that separates the successful from the bitter. Both walk the same road, but one sees a path of obstacles, and the other sees a path of lessons. Never fear the unknown. The unknown is not a void to be dreaded. It is a canvas to be painted. Most people are terrified of uncertainty because they have based their identity on their past. They know who they were, and they are afraid of who they might become if they step into the light. But you must be willing to let the old version of yourself die. You must be willing to shed the skin of your former self, shedding the limiting beliefs, the toxic relationships, and the lazy habits. This death of the old self is the prerequisite for the birth of the new. If you hold onto the anchor, you will never set sail. Your environment is an extension of your own mind. If you want to change your life, start by curating your space. Look at the people you spend your time with, the information you consume, the content you watch. Are these things elevating you, or are they keeping you at the level you are trying to transcend? A lion does not take counsel from sheep, and you cannot build a legacy while surrounding yourself with people who are comfortable with mediocrity. You must seek out those who are further ahead, those who demand more from themselves, those who challenge your thinking and push you to see the limits of your potential as mere suggestions. Resilience is not just about getting back up. It is about getting back up faster, smarter, and stronger. It is about understanding that every time you get knocked down, you are being tested. Life is not trying to stop you. It is trying to prepare you. It is trying to see if you really want it. If you give up at the first sign of trouble, it is clear that you didn't want it enough. But if you see the struggle as a rite of passage, you become unstoppable. The pressure that breaks the fragile is the same pressure that turns coal into diamonds. Do not run from the pressure, lean into it. Let it refine you. Let it strip away everything that isn't essential to your mission. Learning must become your religion. You are in a constant state of either growing or decaying. There is no such thing as standing still. Read, study, listen, and observe. Absorb the wisdom of those who have gone before you, but do not mimic them. Emulate their principles, but apply them to your own unique vision. You have a unique combination of talents, experiences, and perspective that the world has never seen before. When you combine that individuality with the timeless laws of success, you become a force of nature. Do not settle for being a copy of a classic. Become an original masterpiece. Your focus is your most valuable currency. In a world of infinite distraction, the ability to concentrate for extended periods on a single high-leverage task is a superpower. Most people are living in a state of continuous partial attention, jumping from one notification to the next, one trend to the next, one emergency to the next. They are busy, but they are not effective. You must protect your focus. You must build walls around your creative hours. You must learn to say no to the good things so that you can say yes to the great things. A man with 100 goals has no goals. A man with one burning purpose has an empire. What is that one thing for you? What is that vision that, when you close your eyes at night, keeps you awake with excitement? That is your North Star. Do not let it fade. Do not let the dust of daily life settle on it. Every morning, revisit it. Visualize it with such clarity and emotion that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. This is not mystical nonsense. This is the mechanics of human ambition. You are building the prototype in your consciousness before it manifests in the world. The fear of judgment is the cage that keeps most birds from flying. You worry what your friends will say. You worry what your family will think. You worry that if you succeed, you will be different and you will be lonely. But the truth is, the people who are meant to be in your life will celebrate your evolution. And the people who don't, they were never meant to accompany you to the next level. Stop editing your life to make other people comfortable. Your responsibility is to your potential, not to their perception. If you want to change your life, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. That is the price of admission for greatness. You are closer than you think. You look at the road ahead and you see miles, but you should look at how far you have already come. You have survived every bad day, every mistake, every failure. You have gained wisdom that you didn't have a year ago. You are becoming sharper, more focused, more capable. The progress you are making might be invisible today, but it is cumulative. Like the compounding interest on an investment, your small daily efforts are building a foundation of success that will one day manifest in a way that looks like an overnight success to everyone else. They won't see the years of preparation. They won't see the internal battles. They will only see the result. Let them wonder. You know the truth. The decision is yours. The time is now. The power has always been yours to claim. You have been waiting for someone to give you permission, but there is no one coming to save you, and there is no one coming to tell you it's okay. You have to be your own savior. You have to be your own authority. You have to look in the mirror, make the declaration, and then walk into the life you were designed to live. Do not look back. Do not hesitate. The future is waiting for you to define it. Step forward and claim it. The hesitation you feel is simply the ego protecting its borders. It wants to keep you small, because small is safe. Small requires nothing of you. Small asks you to keep your head down and your expectations lower. But you are not a creature of safety, you are a creature of expansion. Every cell in your body is designed for growth, for overcoming, for pushing against the boundaries of your environment. When you decide to shift, you are not merely changing your circumstances, you are correcting a fundamental misalignment between who you are and who you are capable of being. This is why it feels uncomfortable. Change is the shedding of a dead skin, and the friction is the cost of rebirth. Think of the Titan, Andrew Carnegie. He didn't start with an empire of steel. He started with a decision to understand the value of organization and the necessity of persistence. He understood that wealth was not a prize for the lucky, but a consequence of service and strategic thinking. He took the chaos of his time and imposed order upon it. You have the same capacity to impose order upon your own life. Your thoughts are messy, your habits are scattered, and your focus is fragmented. But you can consolidate that power. You can take the scattered shards of your attention and focus them into a laser beam of purpose that cuts through any obstacle. Many people spend their lives in the waiting room of destiny. They are waiting for the perfect conditions, for the right economy, for the perfect mentor, for the stars to align. But the universe does not respect the waiter. It respects the seeker. It respects the person who steps out into the storm without a map, trusting that the act of walking will illuminate the path. When you wait, you are telling the world that you are not ready. When you act, you are telling the world that you are the master of your own domain. The moment you take that first step, even a shaky, uncertain step, the entire universe shifts to meet you. The resistance you felt vanishes because you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are a cause of them. You have been conditioned to believe that you need more time, more education, or more resources. This is the greatest lie of the modern age. You do not need more, you need to use what you have with more intensity. You need to strip away the distractions that consume your hours and dedicate yourself to the singular task of your own transformation. Look at the greats who came before you. Lincoln didn't have a law degree when he started. He had a hunger to learn and an unyielding sense of justice. Edison didn't have a laboratory. He had a shared inner belief that he could solve a problem that had baffled the world. They were not ready. They were simply determined. Determination is the only qualification that truly matters. You must cultivate an internal environment that is hostile to doubt. When a negative thought enters your mind, the thought that tells you it's too hard, that you're not talented enough, that it's too late, you must treat it like an intruder. Do not negotiate with it. Do not analyze it. Recognize it for what it is, a remnant of the old version of yourself trying to pull you back to the comfort of the grave. Replace it immediately with an affirmation of your vision. Speak your goal into existence. Write it down. See it in your mind with such vivid sensory detail that you can feel the texture of it, smell it, hear the sounds of your success. This is not daydreaming. This is programming. You are writing the code of your future, and you must be consistent. There will be days when the world feels like it is crashing down. There will be days when your progress feels non-existent, when the silence from the world feels like rejection. In those moments, you will be tempted to quit. That is the moment of truth. That is where the wheat is separated from the chaff. Every great achievement has a point of no return. A moment where it seems as though you have given everything and received nothing in return. That is the final test. If you push through that point, the breakthrough is inevitable. If you quit, you confirm the status quo. Hold on. The darkest hour is the one that precedes the dawn. You are the conductor of your own consciousness. You decide which notes are played in your mind. If you allow the noise of the world, the cynicism of the media, the negativity of your peers, the fear of the future, to become the soundtrack of your existence, you will live a life of discord. But if you choose the melody of purpose, if you listen to the rhythm of your own intuition, you will compose a life that is a masterpiece of harmony. You have the power to shut out the noise. You have the power to curate your input. Do not give away your focus to things that do not contribute to your ultimate aim. Success is a quiet, internal process before it is ever an external result. It is the victory you win over your own laziness, over your own ego, over your own fear. It is the integrity you maintain when you are tempted to cut corners. It is the persistence you display when you are tired. It is the love you bring to your work when no one is watching. When you win these internal battles, the external results are simply the inevitable consequences. You cannot lose if you have already won within yourself. You have already built the foundation. Now you are simply building the structure that the world will eventually see. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Everyone's journey is different, and the measure of your success is not how you stack up against someone else's highlight reel. The measure of your success is the distance between who you were yesterday and who you are today. Are you more focused? Are you more disciplined? Are you more clear on your purpose? If the answer is yes, you are winning. Do not let the false metrics of social media distract you from the true metrics of personal growth. You are not running a sprint against others, you are running a marathon against your own potential. You have a duty to fulfill your potential. It is not just about your happiness, it is about the contribution you are meant to make to the world. You have a unique perspective, a unique talent, a unique energy that is missing from the world. If you do not step up, if you do not decide to act, that piece of the puzzle will remain missing. You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to the future you are building, to give everything you have to the mission you have chosen. The world is full of people who have settled for good enough. Do not join them. Be the exception. Be the force of nature that changes the landscape of your field, your family, and your life. Every day is a fresh opportunity to recommit to your decision. Do not look at the past with regret, and do not look at the future with anxiety. Look at the present moment with intention. What can you do right now to move the needle forward? What is the one thing that, if you did it today, would make you closer to your goal than you were yesterday? Do that. Do it with excellence. Do it with passion. And then, when the day is done, look at your progress and be grateful. Gratitude for the progress you have made will give you the energy to keep going. The power of your decision is not a spark, it is a fire. It can consume everything that is not aligned with your purpose, and it can light the way for others who are searching for their own path. Be a beacon. Let your transformation be the evidence that it is possible to change your life. Let your success be the permission that others are waiting for. When you live with such conviction, you don't even have to speak to influence others. Your life becomes a sermon. The time for preparation is over. You have read enough. You have watched enough. You have prepared enough. Now you must live. You must act. You must build. The future is not coming toward you. You are running toward the future. Every stride you take is a declaration of your intent. Every breath you take is an investment in your vision. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your heart anchored in your purpose. The path is open. The choice is yours. Make the decision that changes everything, and never look back. Your life is waiting. Go and take. You are standing at the edge of the divide. On one side lies the familiar, the safe, the stagnant, the life you have lived because it was easy, because it was expected, because it required nothing more than your presence. On the other side lies the uncharted territory of your true potential. It is vast, it is demanding, and it is entirely yours to claim. But you cannot stand in the middle. You cannot have one foot in the comfort of your past and one foot in the promise of your future. You must commit. You must make the decision that burns the bridges behind you, leaving only the path forward, illuminated by the fire of your own resolve. Consider the nature of the impossible. History is littered with the corpses of ideas that were called impossible, until a man or a woman with a strong enough will decided to prove them wrong. The Wright brothers were ridiculed for believing in flight. Ford was told the car was a toy for the rich. Carnegie was told the steel industry was a dead end. They all faced the same wall of public opinion, the same crushing weight of skepticism, and the same internal doubts that whisper to you in the dark. The difference? They didn't listen to the noise. They listened to the signal of their own conviction. They understood that the only limit to their achievement was the limit they allowed their minds to accept. You must adopt this radical sovereignty over your own intellect. You are not a victim of the economy, the culture, or your circumstances. You are a sovereign entity capable of creating your own economy, influencing your own culture, and shattering your own circumstances. When you stop looking for external validation, you become an unstoppable force. Validation is the drug of the insecure. It keeps you performing for an audience that doesn't care about your soul and is never satisfied with your results. When you detach from the need to be understood, you become free to do the work that matters. You become free to be bold, to be controversial, to be transformative. Think of your life as an unfolding masterpiece. Most people treat their lives like a rough draft, something to be scribbled on, erased, and endlessly revised without ever committing to a final print. They live in a state of perpetual preparation. They buy the books, they attend the seminars, they watch the videos, but they never produce. They never translate the knowledge into action. But knowledge is not power. It is only potential power. It becomes power when it is applied. When you take a principle and forge it into an action, you create reality. You must become a producer in a world of consumers. You must be the one who creates the value, who solves the problem, who leads the charge. The discipline required for this is not a punishment. It is the ultimate form of self-love. When you discipline your mind, you are saying to yourself, I respect you enough to demand your best. When you discipline your habits, you are saying, I value the future I am building more than the momentary comfort of the present. This is the highest form of respect you can pay to your own existence. Every time you show up for your work when you are tired, every time you choose to study when you would rather be entertained, every time you prioritize your long-term goal over short-term dopamine, you are reinforcing the architecture of your character. And character is the foundation of every great fortune. There is a frequency to success, and it is quiet. It does not need to shout. It does not need to boast. It does not need to justify itself to the doubters. The truly powerful are calm, because they know their direction. They have already won the battle in their minds, so the external victory is just a matter of time. You must cultivate this calm. Stop the frantic hustle that comes from a place of scarcity. Start the deliberate, calculated movement that comes from a place of absolute certainty. When you know where you are going, you don't have to run. You just have to keep moving, one step at a time, with the precision of a clock. Your legacy is being written today. It is not something you leave behind at the end. It is something you build every single day of your life. The choices you make now are the ink on the page. Are you writing a story of convenience or a story of consequence? Are you writing a story that stops with you, or one that ripples out to change the lives of those who come after you? You have a responsibility to yourself to not leave this world with your song unsung, with your potential untapped. You have a duty to exhaust your capacity, to push your limits until you find the hidden reservoirs of strength that you never knew existed. Do not fear the struggle. The struggle is the teacher. It is the crucible that burns away the impurities of your ego. When you are struggling, you are growing. When you are being tested, you are being strengthened. Do not look for the easy way out, because the easy way out leads to nowhere. Look for the way that forces you to expand, that forces you to adapt, that forces you to become more than you were yesterday. Embrace the difficulty as the evidence that you are playing a big enough game. If it were easy, everyone would do it. The fact that it is hard is what makes it valuable. You are the author of your own narrative. The world will try to label you, to categorize you, to put you in a box of what is realistic. Reject those labels. Reality is malleable to the person who has the courage to redefine it. You are not a statistic. You are not a result of your demographics. You are a consciousness capable of manifesting your will into the physical world. Believe this with every fiber of your being, and you will begin to see the walls you thought were solid start to become transparent. You will see doors where there were only closed walls. The time to decide is now. Not when you are fully prepared, not when you have all the answers, but now, in the middle of your confusion, in the middle of your fear, in the middle of your uncertainty. Decision is the catalyst. It is the spark that lights the fuse. Once you have made the decision, the way will appear, the resources will appear, the people will appear. The universe has a way of bowing to the person who knows exactly where they are going. Stand up, look the world in the eye, and take the first step. Your future begins now, and it is going to be magnificent.